my honor to introduce one of my elders here, Chief Billy Jr., Yankton, Dakota, Chickasaw Nation. It's an honor to have him here to share his wisdom with us, his words, his vision. And he made sure that I mentioned that he was adopted as an honorary woman. He's like, Toja, you didn't mention that in my bio last time. So welcome, Chief Billy Jr.
So how are you doing this morning? Yes! You know, the reason... Yeah. And the reason I asked her to mention that is that that's the greatest honor I've received. I've received the Swiss Foundation for Human Rights International Award for defending human rights from Switzerland, from Bern, Switzerland, all kinds of different things. But when my sister Wendy Jones called me about 9 months ago, and the indigenous women I've known for so many years, from 1975, were having an incredible gathering called Honoring the Divine Feminine. She said, "Brother, we have talked together and we'd like you to become a woman. We're going to adopt you as honorary woman." I said, "Well, sister," I said, "that's the highest honor. As long as it doesn't involve any operations, I'm with it." And so sure enough, they had this incredible ceremony, all sisters, and they put a beautiful scarf, really nice, to awaken more of my little feminine part, my big feminine part. And so that's why you can call me, if you want, Aunt Phyllis. Chiefess Phyllis. I'll go for that. Or sister. You call me sister. Or auntie. Or grandma. Auntie. You know, I want to just share. I got a chance to see that beautiful, beautiful film last evening. And all those dimensions I didn't understand because I've never been to Burning Man. But I saw and reflected back to me. And I'm going to go into another direction. I'm going to go into the scientific quantum physics worlds. Because I think we have to embrace it all, understand what's going on. Yeah, now tell me when my 20 minutes is. Where am I standing now? So it's...
You're 3 minutes in.
3 minutes in, 17 minutes. I'm going to do this. Right. By the way, as my Toja, hasn't she done a good job? Yes, great job. So back in 1982, we had a great meeting of elders and spiritual leaders. 40 of us came together. The last night we had an all-night ceremony. All the relatives sitting there had been, many of them had been former, you might say, enemies to a certain sense. We didn't kill each other completely off, but we did have animosities. They all came together because we had common issues. And that was, we were descending into hell. 90%, 100% alcoholism rates. Probably our sexual abuse rates are around 70, 80%. Residential schools were still under the carpet. And I was given some little bit of money, and he said, "Can you develop a curricula for preventing alcoholism and drug abuse across Canada?" And I said, "Whoa, I can't do that. But I ask the elders to do it. If I ask their consultation, we will give it a try." And so we did. To do that, we had this 4-day consultation. The last night we had an all-night ceremony. Okay. And our goal, get this one, our goal was we'd eliminate alcoholism from our communities by the year 2000. Big vision. Big job, way bigger than I thought. By 1985, I realized there's no way, shape, or form we're going to complete this by the year 2000. And that's about the thing about a vision. We can have a vision, but the timing of when it's fulfilled, you can't say exactly. Especially when we have now, or realizing this has to be a global vision. All the realities around Mother Earth, that's a big change. That's a lot of intergenerational trauma to heal. That's a lot of issues between us as human beings that have to be solved. Between tribes, between nations. And so I just was in desperation. But I remember Wovoka went to what's now Lake Tahoe, and that's where he received his great vision. And that's where the ghost dance came from and so forth. This belief we were going to come back into a new springtime. And of course, his vision wasn't talking about then, it was talking about way ahead of time now. So I said, I want to go down there and fast where he fasted. So it ended up this place called the Joy Lake Retreat Center, it's not there anymore, had this week going. They had the Japanese couple, the only names I come to mind, that started the founders of microbiota cooking. They had this Dr. Alan, a lad from Albuquerque, who was the best expert at that time. Deepak Chopra hadn't arrived, or Ayurvedic medicine. And finally, the last part of the program before I was going to go up and fast and have my sweat losses, one when I went up. Anyway, before I did that, they had a gentleman named Joseph Chilton Pierce who was going to give a workshop on the weekend. He wrote a book called The Crack in the Cosmic Egg, The Magical Child, The Magical Child Matures, and so forth. And he was like he was an elder, about my age at that time. And he was Irish. And he was like, his hair like, well, listen, he was just more frantic than I am. But he was a great man. And when I came in there, he had a picture of this beautiful, beautiful woman. She was from India. Her name was Guru Mai. I don't know if you ever heard of Guru Mai, but she's really incredibly beautiful. And just something about her just caught my soul. So anyway, I finished that, and he was talking about how do we go through, what's happening scientifically in this paradigm shift we're going through. So I immediately invited him to come to the University of Lethbridge, where I was an associate professor in the Faculty of Education. And I said, I wanted the faculty, which by the way, mainly were men, most dysfunctional group I've ever seen. We'd sit in these meetings for hours. I found a way to go there to develop some good research project. And they would sit the whole dog meeting arguing over do we say the or the? This is really sick stuff. And yet, and I have to say, we have to rate these universities and the educational system and look at the world today. What would you rate them for training all the people that are the main players in this world? All these universities. I'd give them a big F. You know, there's good professors and so forth. I don't mean to do that bad. But think about it. There's responsibilities to train the next coming generations to take their place, to build a better world. That's their job. That's their work. Is to serve the younger generation so they'll go further than us. And so instead, they're so caught up in their heads and their egos. I kind of have to picture it like if you can imagine a male with a great big head this big and a body about that big. Praise to God. I have to say that. With all due respect to past professors in the other world, those here. And there's good ones too, very good ones. And they're the ones standing up trying to get people to listen. So, shortly after that, I got someone, they started a program in Ottawa called the First Nations Alcoholism and Drug Abuse Program. And they invited me, somebody flew out from Ottawa, head of that program, his name is Paul Kaiba. He said, Phil, we have some end of the year money. You got to spend it by by the 1st of January. And that was about him seeing about October. And I said, Paul, oh no, it was March 31st. Anyway, I said, Paul, as long as I can spend this exactly how I want, I'll give it a shot. He said, what do you mean? I said, I'm going to go out and invite elders from every tribe, every nation I can and know. And I'm going to give them offerings, sometimes tobacco. Now, you're from Health Canada, they might not like that. So you've got to agree. I'm going to buy blankets, I'm going to buy this, I'm going to buy that. I'm going to do, you have to let completely have freedom over how I spend that money. Agree. It's end of the year money anyway, you know. You don't have end of the year money anymore. In fact, we have debt. Anyway, so we convene this gathering of all these elders. That's part of the story. So, after I heard Joe's incredible understanding of quantum physics, and I got a chance right at the same time to meet my dear brother, who's dead now, in the other side camp, Hans-Peter Drurer. And Hans-Peter Drurer, his mentor was Heisenberg. He actually sat in the visits between Heisenberg and Einstein. He listened in, saw the whole deal. And so when we got together and met, I found all the ways we look at the world as indigenous people. Completely I could understand all the mathematics, but the concepts of quantum physics are the same we knew in our tradition, the original tradition. Because science and spirituality must go hand in hand. Science without spirituality becomes a Frankenstein. And that's what we see destroying the world, because there's no values behind it. On the other hand, religion without science becomes fanaticism. It's not reason. We need reason. We don't need to know how to love. So, here I was, up fasting. I'd gone through these workshops and praying. I came down. We had these 4 sweat lodges while I was fasting. And Joseph had shown me this picture I told you this morning. And so I immediately invited him to the University of Lethbridge. I wanted to see, I thought the faculty would be very excited. Here's a whole new way of understanding how we grow and develop a human being. Well, I won't go into how the response was. But I sure tried to learn. When I picked up Joe at the little Lethbridge airport, very small town, 5 minutes, thank you. She asked her to do that. Okay, I'll make it fast. So, we get to my house. He does not want to sleep at the hotel, he gets to my house. He's laying back, I have a vibrating chair, but it doesn't vibrate anymore. In the morning, let's get up about 4 a.m. in the morning. And it doesn't vibrate. He's laying there, I have to sit up and meditate with him. After I meditate, I get to answer the question. So I asked him, Joe, how do we take down the Pentagon? Biggest thing. How do you bring? He said, well, Phil, what happens if we hit it? 9/11, what happened? Bigger, stronger. It takes that energy and makes it stronger. He said, well, what if you say to yourself, I'm going to enter the Pentagon and I'm going to become a general. When I get to be a general, then I'll do it. What happens? Well, you can corrupt and you lose all your energy. So then he explained to me the theory of dissipated structures. It was a Nobel Prize was given to a gentleman, Belgian chemist named Ilya Prigogine. And here's the question. How, in a universe that is in entropy, breaking down, how does it go up? It's breaking down, everything. How do we keep carrying on, for instance, just in technology, this ever-advancing civilization? And he said this. Here's how it goes. If you were in New York City at 3 a.m. in the morning, let's presuppose that it was completely no traffic, right? You're here sitting in your vehicle. You can drive this way, go around this way, that, west way. Now imagine, you're driving your car like this, and it goes to be 4 o'clock. Now we're saying the traffic starts to roll. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. What happens as you go down and the traffic begins to fill the system?
Slower.
And who runs you?
Traffic.
The traffic. And then when the traffic thing goes, you get the lights on. And sooner or later, if enough energy is fused, enough consciousness is fused into this system, this old paradigm, the paradigm starts breaking down. It cannot contain the energy. That's why they built subways. That's why they're trying to do everything they can, but it can't contain it. There's no way to contain this consciousness. And so what he said was this. He said, Phil, he said, the old paradigm, and I could kind of symbolize it by a pyramid. There's some people are way up here on top, men, and others, and everybody else down here being oppressed. And we're okay, you're not. So, this paradigm is beginning to collapse. Now, we know that we're going to waste our energy if we go this to it. You know, some people are doing that's good. They're helping us along. I mean, I don't talk about violence. We can try to get into it. Oh my gosh, I'm going to become the Prime Minister of Canada. Or I'm going to become the President of the United States. How's that one? Oh, couldn't have come a better person to upset the whole thing. But he said the way it goes, the way to do it, he said when that happens, by scientifically, another paradigm emerges that can contain all the new energy. And I see that as a circle. A circle, a sacred circle, because it says we're all one. We're all equal. Thank you, sweetie. You know what? She went from 2 minutes to 3 minutes. So anyway, so here's what I'm saying.
Time is ready.
You're very flexible. Okay. So what's happening is this paradigm, this old paradigm, that you have stepped back from, and that's what I saw last night. I saw relatives saying, you know, just a minute. I won't use the F word. I can use it.
Use it!
They're saying, fuck you. Fuck you. Like my dad said, I was born wild, I'm going to die wild. I don't want to impart a Pepsodent toothpaste, preparation age, Fruit of the Loom underwear, or Diet Pepsi culture. That's it. And so, as the system breaks down, because the huge people naturally, well, I'm over here and I got the circle, and we got it going over here. And we're loving over here. And we're coming together over here. People are just naturally coming. So we're over here. That triangle is going down. Boom. Here we're here. Now, the only thing to remember is between here and there's going to be natural confusion and conflict. It comes with the dinner. But we are going over here. So here's how I summarize it. Before us, where we're at is unpredictable, of course. Unpredictable, like a little bit unpredictable. It's unimaginably, it's unbelievably intense in its violence. I mean, we are just beginning this process. My community's what does it, but it's unimaginably glorious in its finality. So what I saw happening here in this, there's 4 symbol systems. The last part. Might take an extra 10 seconds. There's 4 symbol systems by which we mediate our experience with all the worlds. The mathematics is how we mediate our system with the entire physical world. That's about science, mathematics. Everything's based in mathematics. How we relate with each other as human beings is through language, spoken and unspoken language. Here's the beauty. The symbol system by which we mediate our experience with the unknown are the arts. Are the arts. Are the arts. And so all this dancing, we're freeing ourselves. The last one is, how do we mediate our experience with ourselves? Is dreams. So what I'd really encourage you to think about as well, those models are already ready. We have to celebrate and get out there and get it out, you know, jump, whatever. I'm for that. I'm for that thing. We have to free ourselves. And by the way, living ceremony combines all the arts. Singing, movement, dance, symbols, beautiful things.
Hi.
Balloons hanging outside your door. All those things. But at the same time, we've got to walk the spiritual path with practical feet. So I want to offer to you the work of 82 years doing both. Of developing models, new models, holistic models, by indigenous women, by other women together. We have developed those right now. They're quietly, please turn the camera on this. Where are you going to keep it? Just don't make part of the film. Right now, that's right, you can go. But I don't want it mentioned. Right now, just across the United States, we have operating over 2,000 of these councils based in this new body. In Canada, we have over 1,200. Across the Americas, we have about 8,000. And the large majority are indigenous communities, or have indigenous people. And I'm saying, you take the models we have, whatever we have, the gifts we have, use them as you wish. Change them, alter them, alter them. Chante Washtelo, Mano Hemeado, Chinupa Sapa Hemeado. My name is Chiefess Phyllis.
Hi.
My sister. Hi. My name is Sister Phyllis. And I stand responsible for my words and my actions. How Chante Washtelo.
Give Uncle Phil, Chief Phil and Junior, a big round of applause, please. Thank you. As someone really so beautifully articulated
Mona, by the
yesterday.
way, Mona Polaka, my dear sister, sends her profound, I got an email from her, she sends her most profound feelings. She wanted her plane got held in.
Someone was saying yesterday that it's so beautiful to have such a wise elder here amongst us who is passing the torch to us, but we might not even realize it. So thank you, Uncle Phil, for sharing that transmission. Thank you, Paul Hamix. Today is a really important part of this journey, and it's because we're talking about sexuality. But what is sexuality really? It's about being in our body. It's about feeling safe in our body. And what we're seeing is we are standing here on this land in a country that has a president that is a sexual perpetrator. We are seeing things coming out in the news around sexual abuse being rampant in Hollywood, which we've all known. But we're coming into this time where we really need to heal ourselves, to feel safe in our bodies, to heal our nervous system and to heal the nervous system of this planet so that our children can understand what healthy sexuality is, so that we can start to support a new generation where sisters and brothers are safe, where we feel comfortable and safe in our bodies, where we have a community around consent. And it is with the utmost respect and honor that we are granted the presence of some amazing, amazing healers and leaders in this space around awakened sexuality, because this is a big piece for us. This is a big, big piece for us. So we have Marie, who's going to be introducing our first speaker of the day, and it is such an honor to have her here. She's going to be opening up and talking about this Shakti energy, which we're all feeling on the planet, which we were experiencing last night, which Ian Mackenzie's film and Nicole Sorkin's film. How was that? Isn't that gorgeous? Amplify her, right? So and as we amplify her, we also amplify him. We're unifying, we're coming together. So thank you so much for being present in this journey with all of us. We are doing the work together for the planet and for ourselves. So thank you.
Thank you, everyone. So our next speaker, Ashley Rose Wolf, international health and sensuality coach and the founder of the Femme Rising, helps women revolutionize their relationship with their bodies so that they can unlock their full feminine potential.
Yeah.
Her own sensual and feminine awakening led to the discovery of an epidemic. Women living numbed out and shameful lives. A new mission to create a platform where modern women could access the ancient wisdom that upholds and honors the sensual and cyclical nature of the female form. She uses cycle thinking, sensual yoga, holistic nutrition, and an ancient yogic science called Tantra to help women live confident, feminine, and sensual lives in alignment with their bodies, psyche, cycle, and Shakti. When she's not leading the sensual revolution for the Femme Rising, you can find her doing yoga, playing outside with her little adventure dog Zuri, and soaking up vitamin C, that's S-E-A, and always, always, always stopping to smell the roses. Please help me welcome Ashley Rose Wolf.
Good morning, everybody.
Morning.
So it is a great pleasure to be here this morning, speaking to you on the topics of Shakti and sexual power. And I know that these are very sensitive and taboo subjects today. And I know that many of us here have experienced pain, shame, trauma, or abuse that may be very real in our bodies and our lives. And so as I open up, I would like to invite you into a place of inquisitiveness this morning on what I speak about. I'm going to be talking about Tantra, sexuality, your body, and Shakti. And in Tantra, we use the body as a map. So the invitation for you is to pay attention to what comes up for you as I'm speaking. Are you experiencing emotion? Are you experiencing something physically? Is a memory getting triggered? Tantra is the science of awareness, and we use this awareness to tap into our healing potential. And above all, Tantra seeks awareness instead of judgment. So if you find yourself falling into judgment or shame or that sense of pain, the invitation is really to bring it back to awareness. Okay, what is my body trying to tell me? What is my psyche trying to bring up for me? So that I can witness it, so that I can deal with it, so that I can experience it, so that it can be released. Because that's truly what the body is here for, to help us move through what we've been through. It's not here to get trapped. So please self-resource for yourself during my talk and throughout the day as needed, as you may feel your body. And with that, so that we can all just really come together in resonance, what happens when a group of people are together is their nervous systems syncopate. And because we're going to be talking about some charged topics, I would just love for us to come into some resonance and presence. So if we could all just inhale through the nose together and exhale out the mouth. Beautiful. Again, in the nose, out the mouth. One more time. Beautiful. From this place, I invite you to see what you feel in your body. Without getting elaborate, just name it. Calm, present, tired, nervous. Let that awareness sink in. And know that in addition to getting grounded, we have also just practiced one of the key concepts of Tantra, which is observing how we feel without judgment. Because Tantra says you're here to feel, and you're here to not feel bad about it. And not only are you here to feel good, but you're here to feel free. And so Tantra seeks to help you release any of the pain or blockages that keep you from experiencing that freedom in your body, in your life, and in your self-expression. And because there are some buzzy opinions about what Tantra is, and I know some people might be thinking, isn't Tantra just about sex? I just want to provide a background on Tantra before we move into Shakti so that we can all be on the same page. So Tantra is an ancient yogic science. It's over 5,000 years old. And when I say ancient, I mean that's when they started writing this stuff down. So these transmissions are quite literally part of a very old living tradition. And the ancient yogis were very inquisitive as to what it meant to be a human. And so they took everything about life into account. And within this, there's a few key concepts that are the essence of Tantra. The first is that Tantra seeks to awaken the senses. Tantra is a science of awakening. The vehicle for awakening the senses is the body. And the body is a portal to the divine. In essence, we awaken our senses through the portal of the body to reach the divine. And because sex is such a big part of life, we're all here because two people had sex. And most of us are having sex. And because sex is one of the most sensual experiences that you can have, sex was included in not only what it meant to be a human, but a sacred human and a sexual human. And this fed the ancient yogis' inquiry. And so, over thousands of years of yogic practice and mystical transmissions and physical inquiry about the body, mind, and spirit, this science was developed. And it's quite accurately called a science because it's not rooted in shame or dogma. There isn't any judgment. There is observation. And so what I love about Tantra is that even though it is a science and the teacher can hypothesize what the student might experience, whenever there is a teacher-student relationship, the teacher says, okay, do this practice and tell me how you feel after. And then the response is, oh, okay, that's what came up for you. There isn't a level of expectation because we are all invariably unique. All of our life experiences are invariably unique, and the way that those experiences have settled in our bodies are invariably unique. And so what is Shakti? The reason I wanted to start with Tantra is because Shakti comes from Tantra. And Shakti means power or energy. And it's Sanskrit. And the yogis believe that this power or energy infuses everything. And because awakening Shakti is the theme of this convergence, I want to really dive into what she is, where she lives in your body, why you need her, and how to turn her on. Before I do that, I just kind of want to get a flavor for what people think Shakti is in the audience. So, who thinks Shakti is divine feminine energy? Okay. Who thinks Shakti is sexual energy? Okay. Who has no idea what Shakti is? Great. Okay. So, Shakti is believed to be primordial life energy. She is the energy that created the cosmos, created our bodies, and everything in between. She's the energy of creation and the energy that governs and animates it. She is quite literally a womb for life, in which everything is created and everything will one day dissolve back into. And so, Shakti is really the feminine life force. Yes, she is seen as the divine feminine. Yes, she is seen as sexual energy, because how do we create life? Through sex. But beyond this, Shakti very tangibly lives in your body. And so the yogis took this perspective of cosmic creation and this element of power and energy, and they were fascinated with how we could access it within ourselves. So, in the practices and history of Tantra, it's said that Shakti is a snake coiled around 3.5 times. She lives on the posterior or backside of the cervix in women, and the perineum in men, or in between the genitals and the anus. And it's said that when Shakti is activated, she rises through the central channel of the body, also called the Sushumna, to reach Shiva, or the male source of consciousness, at our crown. And when this happens, it's not just like you get a boost of energy. There's a very physiological cascade that happens in your body. I've seen eyes instantly get brighter when Shakti comes online. Skin can literally glow, can go from being gray and pallor or just sort of drained to looking dewy and fresh. She balances hormones. She can cultivate confidence and boost your metabolism. And I'm a personal testament to that. My body has changed a lot since I started working with Shakti. And so it's not too far to say that Shakti gives you magical powers. Like when she comes online, you change. And because some of this might still be a little too woo-woo or yogic or energetic, I want to get into the science for you. And so what science says is that Shakti is a bundle of nerves that lives in a kunda, or bulb. And so that's the seat of your kundalini. This snake that's coiled around 3.5 times lives in this kunda. And as she rises, she interacts with your nervous system. And as she rises, and your body contains the ability to hold the charge for her to rise higher and higher and higher and reach the crown, she reaches your brainstem. And so this is where we see Shiva, the masculine, being met by the feminine. The feminine life force quite literally rises within us to meet the source of consciousness. And when this happens, when I talk about being turned on, yes, I'm talking about your sex life. And yes, this can have great sexual implications for you. But what I'm really talking about when I talk about turn on is this bundle of nerves activated in your body? Do you have access to the electrical impulses that are stimulated when Shakti wakes up? And with this, we're going to talk about this in a second, but it's a pretty picture, so you can just check it out. With this, what's most fascinating to me is not just how this affects your sex life or your sexual power, but your entire life. And so I want to share a little bit of my story so that you can understand how I got here and how Shakti has not only changed me, but she's really given me this passion to help her wake up and everybody else. Because the things that shut Shakti down are the things that we're talking about here. Shame, trauma, abuse, the things that prevent us from being awakened humans. And what I love about the ancient yogis is that, through the portal of the body, activating the senses, reaching the divine, what they were really concerned with was how to access our highest divine human potential. And in this, body and spirit are married. And Tantra says that divinity is not something outside that we get to one day. It's literally living here inside of our bodies. And unfortunately, so many of us are shut down from these words like shame, trauma, abuse, pain, society, cultural conditioning, so many things. That we don't have access to this. And not only do we not have access to a few of the physiological things that I was mentioning, but we don't have access to this healthy source of love and connection and intimacy within ourselves. And when we don't have access to this within ourselves, it really limits our ability to connect with loving, healthy, intimate connection with others. And so, you might be wondering, who's this Shakti woman up here? Has she always been turned on? Has she always had confidence? Has she always looked like this? No. The answer is definitely not. I was about as shut down, numbed out, and shameful as you could get. And this started for me at a very, very young age. My mom was a drug addict, and so for me, this level of trauma actually started in utero and followed me throughout childhood, in and out of foster care, until I witnessed the overdose that led to my mom's death when I was 10. And my nervous system had been through so much fight and so much flight by this point that I was just frozen. I was literally shut down. I recently heard from my family that it took me 2 years to laugh after my mom died. And despite being given really every opportunity to heal and being thrown into the most loving arms anyone could have asked for, I was at war with feeling. And I didn't want to feel anything because I was so used to being frozen. And so whenever I would get an impulse of feeling, I would want to numb it out. So this earliest manifested for me with food, and I would overeat to numb out. And followed me through adolescence. I was overweight, super self-conscious, hated my body. I blamed everything that was wrong in my life on my body. And culminated in a pretty significant eating disorder in college, in which I was anorexic and bulimic, and running 6 miles a day on 0 calories. And so for me, the system of shutdown shifted from not wanting to feel to just having complete control over my body. And I was getting ready to graduate from college when I had my rock bottom moment, and I was standing in a dressing room. I was getting ready to go home for spring break, and I had to get something to wear. And I was standing under those really unforgiving fluorescent lights. And in a sense of simultaneous achievement and shame, I saw the body I always wanted. And as I turned around and looked in the mirror, I could see my spine and my hips. And my first thought was, shit, I'm going home, my family's gonna find me out. I'm gonna get caught. So, typically the things that we engage in that are shameful, we don't want people to know about. But the next very distinct thought was, I'm never gonna be the woman I know I'm capable of being if I don't heal my relationship with my body. Which set me on the path to heal. I started studying holistic nutrition, I became a holistic nutritionist, and I found yoga in my spiritual practice. And over the years of healing, many people would say, based on what I had been through as a kid, that I was thriving, that I was successful, that I was healthy. But I still felt like there was something missing, and I really couldn't put my finger on it until I was 26. And so I was 26, and I had never had an orgasm with a partner. And it honestly didn't even bother me until I had a partner that it bothered. And I would get really annoyed because he would say things like, just relax, just breathe. It's just all in your head, just be present. You're like, I am present. And I don't feel self-conscious, like I'm here. I just can't come. And despite the annoyance, I'm very grateful for that, because it's what led me to my light bulb moment of realizing, oh my God, I am totally disconnected from what lives within my hips. I'm totally disconnected from what makes me a woman. Here I am, a holistic nutritionist teaching women about self-love, learning how to love their bodies, and the kind of nutrition that's going to work best for them, and self-care practices. And I'm totally disembodied from what it means to actually be a woman.